Chapter
NK
701, Content Life in the Wooden House.
Inside the wooden house, So-Fong continued building the big bed.
The stream is so cool at night. Lu Wai Thursday pushed the door, carrying the clean pot and bowls inside.
You have worked hard, why not go soak and bathe, it will be more comfortable to sleep at night.
Van Han gently suggested. Lu Wai Thursday smiled and said, good idea.
She put the pot on the wooden rack, then took clothes and a towel preparing to go downstairs, but stopped after a few steps and asked, Tan Nak, will you come too?
Yes.
Nan Tan Nak blushed, looking at her sister. Do not worry, later Nu Nak will soak with me.
Lu Wai Mong hugged Nan Nu Nak's shoulder, laughing. All right.
Nan Tan Nak pressed her lips, finally blending into the team.
Van Han asked innocently, then what about me? Of course you bathe with So-Fong.
Lu Wai Mong looked natural.
PFF.
So-Fong spat out his tea.
Lu Wai Mong teased, what, do you not want to? Well, no, not that I do not think, wait, let me clear my mind.
So-Fong felt confused.
It means you do think, so simple, why hesitate? Lu Wai Mong joked. Van Han blushed, stomping, Sister Mong, what are you saying?
So-Fong twitched his mouth, speechless.
Hee, just kidding. Lu Wai Mong laughed.
So-Fong shook his head, suppressing his feelings, and continued chopping wood. Half an hour later, So-Fong put down the axe and said, Nu Nak, try lying on it.
Yes.
Nan Nu Nak obediently removed her shoes, turned and lay on the big bed.
How is it, stable, not pressing your back? So-Fong asked.
Nan Nu Nak spread her arms then sat up, very steady, very comfortable. Good, later Van Han will spread the cloth, then you can sleep. So-Fong spoke gently.
Move the big bed first.
Van Han stood up, cut the cloth with the military knife. So-Fong moved the screen, placed the new bed beside two others, the girl spread the cloth and fixed the corners.
Perfect. Van Han clapped happily. Creak. So comfortable. Nan Tan Nak and Lu Wai Thursday entered, wiping their hair. Sister, look, we have beds now. Nan Nu Nak lay rolling on it, face full of joy. Enough, go bathe first, hot water is ready.
Nan Tan Nak pinched her sister's nose.
Okay.
Nan Nu Nak smiled, showing dimples, and got off the bed. Sister Mong, I am not a child, speak normally.
Nan Nu Nak blushed. Fine. Lu Wai Mong laughed louder, holding Nan Nu Nak's hand, carrying clothes and towel downstairs. Soon, a voice called, Van Han, do you want to soak too? Coming.
Van Han's face flushed, she took her clothes and towel, shyly glanced at So-Fong before leaving.
So-Fong smiled, could she really want to soak with him?
Lu Wai Thursday took cloth from the rack, gave it to Nan Tan Nak, wear mine tonight, more comfortable.
Thank you. Nan Tan Nak accepted. You are welcome.
Lu Wai Thursday sat by the stove, combing her hair with a wooden comb. Nan Tan Nak sat nearby, touching her long hair. Since coming to Win Noyet Island, it is the first time my hair feels this clean.
How did you wash before? Lu Wai Thursday asked.
With ash, it removed some oil but the scalp still itched.
Nan Tan Nak sighed.
Lu Wai Thursday nodded softly, from now on, wash often, So-Fong said combing often is good for hair and body.
Really?
Nan Tan Nak was surprised. Yes, it truly works.
Lu Wai Thursday nodded firmly.
Then I must comb more, I even thought of cutting short for convenience.
Nan Tan Nak said.
Lu Wai Thursday gave her the comb, sincerely, your long hair is beautiful, now with soap, no need to cut.
All right.
Nan Tan Nak smiled, today was the most relaxed day since arriving on the island, no more worrying about food.
She combed her hair, then asked curiously, Thursday, why are there no insects in your place? That, asked So-Fong.
Lu Wai Thursday shrugged, pointing her chin toward him.
Forget it, I will not ask.
Nan Ton Nok hesitated but restrained her curiosity.
Half an hour later, the three girls returned from bathing, drinking hot tea.
Okay. So Fong accepted the clothes, pinched her nose, then went downstairs.
Ah? You even have mahjong? Nan Ton Nok was stunned. Life in the wooden house was truly satisfying. Of course, even chess.
Lu Waimong smiled, loving to see the sisters surprised, just like when she first met So Fong.
But we cannot play mahjong,
Nan Ton Nok said shyly.
Nan Nu Nok also nodded. They lived in the mountains before, never having the chance to play. Chapter 702, Rain is Coming.
Screech. So Fong pushed open the bathroom door, steam still rising from his body. He wiped his wet hair and walked out.
Looks like it is going to rain.
He looked up at the sky and muttered, then turned upstairs. Inside the wooden house, Lu Waimong and the others were playing mahjong.
Which tile should I play?
Nan Ton Nok frowned, her face serious. Her finger hovered over the tiles, hesitating. So Fong entered, glanced at her tiles, and casually reminded, play 7 10,000s.
Okay, 7 10,000s. Nan Nu Nok sighed in relief and quickly played the tile. So Fong, you should not remind too much. Lu Waimong pouted. So Fong hung his towel, smiled and asked, Haha, do you want to bully the newcomer?
Such things do not need to be explained.
Lu Waimong muttered, not embarrassed at all. Nan Ton Nok's lips twitched. Was there really such a person? Then later should I play against you?
So Fong said with a smile.
Lu Waimong quickly said, no, you just watch from the side. NK Books.
So Fong shook his head, smiling bitterly, standing behind Nan Ton Nok and Van Han.
So Fong plays mahjong very well, right?
Nan Ton Nok asked.
Very well.
Her eyes lit up. She turned to him.
Do you want me to teach you? So Fong asked. Yes. Nan Ton Nok nodded quickly. All right, I will teach you one round.
He stood behind her, observing her tiles.
So Fong, please go easy. Lu Waimong pleaded. So Fong laughed. Do not worry, I will only teach one round, nothing more. That is fine, losing one round is nothing. Lu Waimong relaxed. Lu Wai Thursday glanced at her sister and asked coldly, you think without So Fong you will surely win? Of course, I am a gambling god.
Lu Waimong said proudly.
Gambling god? You look more like a gambling demon.
Lu Wai Thursday rolled her eyes angrily. The Nan sisters covered their mouths, stifling laughter, expecting the lively scene in the wooden house.
You are the gambling demon, your whole family. You are the demon.
Lu Waimong stopped midway, realizing her words were wrong, hurriedly corrected. Lu Wai Thursday narrowed her eyes with displeasure.
Ahem, whose turn?
Lu Waimong coughed, sternly said, thank the flower quickly.
Waimong, it is your turn. Nan Ton Nok reminded, holding back laughter. Lu Waimong smiled awkwardly, picked up a tile and played.
Nan Nu Nok bit her lip, trying not to laugh. As expected, over 20 minutes later, under So Fong's guidance, Nan Ton Nok easily won the round.
Again. Lu Waimong pouted.
This time rely on yourself, play as I taught you. So Fong patted her shoulder and left.
He looked at Nan Nu Nok sitting aside and asked softly, are you bored? No, it is lively.
Her small face suddenly blushed.
Hot. Why are you blushing? So Fong asked in surprise, for the night air was cool.
He shrugged, then sat on the big bed, leaning on the headboard, thinking. He released his aura, focusing his spirit in his eyes, his forehead tingled, and a three-dimensional image of the wooden house appeared in his mind. Though blurred, it was still recognizable. His consciousness moved, vision shifted, and a frowning girl's face appeared.
He lasted less than 10 seconds before dizziness hit, the image collapsed.
He rubbed his temples, muttering, so far I can only use it for 10 seconds, the range is small, but it is very practical.
Lost again. Lu Weimon's voice sounded.
So Fong patted the spot beside him, gently said, "All right, it is late, rest now."
Ha. Lu Wai Thursday yawned, softly said, "I am sleepy, and today is cooler." Really? I did not feel it.
Lu Weimon's long lashes trembled.
Tomorrow it will probably rain, tonight cover the quilt well. So Fong reminded. It will rain?
Nantan Nok frowned, went to the window, looked up, not a star in sight, indeed it might rain. If it rains that is great, no need to water the garden, and it will be cooler.
Lu Waimong cheered. But we cannot go out. So Fong added.
Then better if it does not rain, I still want to go to the beach.
Lu Waimong corrected quickly. The beach.
Nan Nu Not pursed her lips, eyes full of hope.
Wait until the rain stops, it will not last long.
So Fong said gently.
Okay. Nan Nu Nok nodded obediently.
After more than 10 minutes, the wooden house quieted down. The Nan sisters lay in their sleeping bags, feeling unprecedented peace.
So warm.
Van Han hugged So Fong, rubbing her head against his back.
Sleep. He gently patted her.
Lu Wai Thursday's lips twitched, a little envious of her sister's easy sleep. She yawned and closed her eyes.
In the dark, Nan Nu Nok turned to her sister, whispered, "Sister, are you asleep?" Nan Tan Nok turned, held her sister's hand, softly asked, "Not yet, you cannot sleep?" Chapter 703, What Fur Should You Use? Come closer.
Nan Tan Nok spoke softly. Nan Nu Nok quickly nestled beside her sister, though the bed was wide, the two still huddled on one side.
Nan Tan Nok slipped her arm under her sister's neck and asked gently, "Can you sleep like this?" Let me try."
Nan Nu Not pursed her lips, pressed her forehead to her sister's shoulder, and closed her eyes.
Hoo. Soon, her breathing steadied as she drifted into dreams. Aha!
Nan Tan Nok yawned, glanced at So Fong and the sisters, then also dozed off.
Early the next morning. Boom boom.
Heavy rain poured over Moon Island, pattering loudly on leaves and shrubs.
Creak creak.
Birds circled in the sky, then darted into tall trees to shelter.
So it really rains.
Van Han gently pushed open the window, propped it with a stick. The air grew damp and chilly.
She hesitated, put on her hat, went downstairs to check the rabbit cage, ensuring it stayed dry. The cellar should not flood, right? She glanced toward it and stepped over. Squatting, she lifted the hay cover, only to see the opening sealed with clay. Must be So Fong's work. She murmured, replaced the hay, and went back upstairs. Good morning. Van Han smiled. Good morning.
Awake again, Nan Tan Nok replied softly. She pinned up her hair, put on shoes, and gazed out the window at the downpour. If they had stayed at the first hideout, they would be drenched by now.
Tan Nok's sister, this is homemade toothpaste. Van Han handed over the small jar. Toothbrushes must wait for So Fong to make. All right, thank you.
Nan Tan Nok accepted it, opened to see a thick black paste with mint scent and faint charcoal smell.
Okay.
She smiled, tugged her sister to wash. It's raining outside, don't go down.
Books.
Van Han quickly called, pointing to the water jar near the stove, there's water there.
Nan Tan Nok nodded, scooped a bowl, squatted by the stairs to wash. Gulp gulp. After a few minutes, she rinsed and spat. Are my teeth whiter? She asked with a smile. Not sure if it's illusion, but looks a bit whiter. Nan Nu Nok leaned closer. Nan Tan Nok lifted her chin, smiling, you too. What are you two doing? So Fong walked out, curious at their grins. Just brushed, I plan to make 2 toothbrushes. He said. Nan Nu Nok asked, toothbrush? How to make? Real bristles? She exclaimed, as before they only used sticks or fingers, sometimes chewing charcoal. Use pine resin with animal hair, is this rabbit fur? Nan Ton Nok asked. Deer fur would be better. She chuckled. I want rabbit fur. Nan Nu Nok raised her hand. All right. So Fong nodded with a smile and went to prepare. So comfy, rainy days suit sleeping. Lu Waimong ruffled her messy hair, stood by the window to breathe the cool air, spirits lifted. If you didn't kick blankets at night, you'd sleep better. Lu Wai Thursday glared. Last night almost all covers were tossed aside. I think we should tie you up to sleep. Lu Wai Thursday said seriously. Lu Waimong shrank, hiding behind the screen, muttering, Sister, you still want to play tying games? Tying game? Is it fun? Nan Nu Nok asked curiously, eyes sparkling. Nan Ton Nok looked baffled, playing strange games this early? Put. So Fong laughed, spitting his water. Not fun, don't play. Lu Waimong noticed her sister's glare and quickly changed topic. What for breakfast? Let me cook. So Fong tapped her head, smiling. We agreed yesterday, I'll cook today. She rubbed her head, pouting. Then let me help. Didn't you say you'd teach me wild vegetable soup? Fine, prepare the ingredients first. He replied. The sisters exchanged glances. What on earth was tying game? Ton Nok's sister, your build is close to Thursday sister, I'll sew clothes for you. Van Han showed the fabric. Make clothes? Nan Ton Nok hurried closer. Yes, weather's hot, wearing jackets all the time will cause rash. Van Han smiled, using charcoal to draw cut lines. Let me help. Nan Ton Nok felt shy. She had done little since arriving, now still needed others to sew new clothes for her. Chapter 704, the method is still much harder. So what can I do? Nan Nu Nok clasped her fingers, her voice a bit shy. I thought about it, so you help me twist flax thread. Van Han smiled, turning to take the processed plant fibers on the wooden table. Nan Nu Nok picked up one strand, curiously raised her head and asked, Flax thread, how to use this? Yes, very simple, I will teach you. Van Han spoke softly, guiding hand in hand to show Nan Nu Nok how to spin flax thread. These past days the cloth consumed quickly, they needed more reserve of thread to weave new cloth. So that is how. The Nan sisters suddenly understood. Can it work? Van Han asked gently. Yes, let me try. Nan Nu Nok took a plant fiber, imitated the girl's action and began spinning thread. She furrowed her brows, very focused. At first the spun thread was rough and loose, later it improved greatly, strong enough to weave cloth. Very good, keep going. Van Han smiled in encouragement. Okay. Nan Nu Nok's face flushed red, her expression more serious. Come, Ton Nok's sister, raise your hands. Van Han turned, holding the cloth with drawn curves, smiling, let us measure if the size is right. Okay. Nan Ton Nok stretched her arms, forming a cross, letting the girl measure. Good, you may lower your hands. Van Han put away the cloth, drew her utility knife and cut along the curve, dividing the cloth into pieces, some for the body, some for sleeves. Do you have needles? Nan Ton Nok asked curiously. Yes, made from fish bones, much better than the wooden ones before. Van Han fetched the small bone needles and a bundle of flax thread. She turned, smiled tenderly, it is with this that we sew clothes. This method is indeed much harder to imagine. Nan Ton Nok could not help but praise, fish bone needles, who could have thought? Yes, Ton Nok's sister, can you sew clothes? Van Han tilted her head. A little. Nan Ton Nok nodded. Van Han placed the needle in her hand, smiling naturally, that is good, the sewing work will be yours, I will go help Nu Nok measure size. Okay. Nan Ton Nok readily agreed, then followed the steps to sew. No rush, eat breakfast first. So Fong's voice sounded, he carried an iron pot to the wooden table. Okay. Van Han cheerfully responded. Nan Ton Nok put down the needle, sniffed the aroma, could not help but sigh,
what is this smell, so fragrant?
Sit quickly. Lu Wai Mong brought the last dish to the table. Such a rich breakfast. Nan Nu Nok's eyes sparkled, as if celebrating New Year. Not really, only when So Fong cooks can it be like this.
Van Han pulled a chair, sat down, explained, if we cook too much we cannot finish. So Fong rubbed his temple, smiling, cough, I just feared you would not have enough to eat.
What did you say?
Van Han tilted her head, glaring with a threatening look.
No, taste it quickly.
So Fong hurriedly changed topic.
Nan Nu Nok swallowed and asked, what dishes are these? Let me introduce, this is Supreme Wild Vegetable Soup, crafted by Mong the Great Chef. Lu Wai Mong introduced seriously. Do not mind the details.
Lu Wai Mong blushed, waved her hand, continued, this is delicious taro kudzu soup, from the chef So.
Yes, I am also a chef. So Fong teased himself. Hearing the strange names read out, the girl tried hard not to laugh. Cough, eat quickly before it gets cold.
Lu Wai Thursday quietly pulled her sister down, glaring at her.
Let me serve soup for you.
Nan Nu Nok obediently stood, took the wooden ladle, first served So Fong, then the girl, then the Lu sisters, her sister, and finally herself.
So tasty, is this really made from wild vegetables? Nan Ton Nok sipped the hot soup, yet tasted chicken and pumpkin flavor. With a little mushroom, but yes, all wild.
So Fong gently explained.
Truly amazing.
Nan Ton Nok praised. After drinking soup, the other dishes completely won over the Nan sisters. So delicious, this is good, sister, you try this.
Nan Nu Nok's mouth
was full, yet she still gave food to her sister.
This one is also good, you try it. Nan Ton Nok also gave food to her.
After more than half an hour, everyone was full, only the girl still held her bowl. The Nan sisters curiously watched, she touched her belly, said nothing.
Haha, to waste food would be a pity.
Van Han laughed, in truth she was only 7 parts full.
Drink a bit more soup, do not choke.
So Fong tenderly ladled more for her.
Van Han's face turned red, silently accepted. So Fong's eyes gleamed sly, softly asked, are you full, should I bake more bread?
Van Han blushed, glared, then mumbled vaguely, forget it, I cannot eat more.
Next time do not cook so much, we cannot finish. Van Han pouted.
Van Han, if you cannot eat, stop, or your stomach will hurt. Nan Ton Nok gently advised.
Yes, too full will feel uncomfortable. Nan Nu Nok also persuaded.
Cough, do not worry, for Van Han this is nothing. Lu Wai Mong coughed teasingly. Truly it was so, more than 10 minutes later, the remaining dishes all entered the girl's belly, she barely reached 9 parts full.
Chapter 705, Groundless Doubts.
Not only did I eat full, I ate too much. Van Han stretched her hand, thumb and index finger gently pressed on So Fong's waist, then twisted suddenly 180 degrees.
TSS.
So Fong inhaled a cold breath, smiling outside but bitter inside.
Humph, serves you right. Van Han snorted softly.
Lu Wai Thursday asked suspiciously, So Fong, what happened?
Nothing, I am fine. So Fong quickly returned to normal.
Lu Wai Thursday pursed her lips, stood up to clean bowls and pots, while the Nan sisters helped naturally, showing signs of blending in. The 3 girls in hooded jackets went downstairs, squatting in the rain by the stream to wash the dishes. Van Han tilted her head toward So Fong, apologetically asked, are you really fine, let me check.
It is fine, my skin is thick, I can take it many times.
So Fong grinned boastfully.
Really?
Van Han lifted her thumb and finger, making a pinching gesture.
False.
So Fong withdrew his smile, mischievously pinched her tender cheek, then turned away under someone's rolling eyes.
Already swollen.
Van Han blushed, muttering, then continued cutting cloth to prepare clothes for Nu Nok. Lu Wai Mong sat aside, pretending not to see the affection. So Fong took the materials and continued making toothbrushes, while the girls busily spun thread and sewed.
Since it rains, we can only press millet.
Lu Wai Thursday poured millet into the clay bowl. Since they could not go out, they processed grains inside the cabin.
Is that not millet? Nantan Nok asked in surprise. Was there millet on the island? Yes, planted by So Fong.
Lu Wai Mong explained casually.
Planted by him?
I recall when choosing tools, there was no millet seed.
Tan Nok looked at So Fong with doubt. Could it be supplies he brought earlier? Or from observers and reporters? I said I improved foxtail grass into millet, do you believe?
So Fong glanced, reading her thoughts.
Tan Nok pursed lips, asked back, what do you think? You believe. So Fong teased with a grin. Her eyes twitched. Why did he never act normally?
I am still here, not eliminated, that proves much. So Fong shrugged. If he cheated he would be gone already. How could he still wander here?
Tan Nok fell silent. She knew he was right, yet could not understand how foxtail grass became millet.
Sister Tan Nok, millet originated from foxtail grass, though I do not know how, but it truly grows from that. Van Han held her hand, explaining. Maybe it is the soil. Anyway, the program team is very clear-eyed.
Lu Wai Thursday added, glancing up at a drone avoiding rain. I understand.
Tan Nok sighed and nodded, glancing at So Fong. She bowed her head, sighing again, suppressing doubts, as long as she could win. The rest was unimportant, she only needed prize money to cure her sister. Time passed, rain lessened outside, dusk approached. Van Han tied a knot, held the cloth pants, then handed them with the coarse shirt to Nu Nok, gently said, done, try it on.
Change behind the screen, more space. Van Han smiled. Russell. A moment later, she came out wearing the outfit, spinning before them, happily asking, how is it? Very nice, does it fit? Van Han asked softly. Nu Nok nodded joyfully, yes, very fitting, thank you Van Han. Do not mention it, when we have more cloth I will make another set for you.
Van Han held her hand, smiling sweetly.
You treat me too well. Nu Nok's eyes reddened, she hugged the girl.
It is nothing, we are teammates, we must persevere till the end. Van Han patted her back comfortingly.
Yes, persevere together. Nu Nok nodded repeatedly. Drip drop.
Tran Shi Hai heard rain outside the cave, feeling restless. After leaving Bamboo Forest, the two headed east, then found a cave to rest, planning to scout resources.
If plentiful, they would stay.
This rain, who knows how long? Tran Shi Hai leaned on the wall weakly, his belly already empty after digesting wild greens.
Is there more food? He asked. I will find some. Hei Hung stood, took his knife, ready to go.
Wait, till rain stops. Tran Shi Hai quickly called, not wanting to be alone. Hei Hung halted, sat again, threw logs into the fire, rekindling it.
Growl.
Tran Shi Hai's stomach rumbled loudly in the enclosed cave.
It rains hard outside, where can you find food? He asked with pale lips. Do not know, wait here.
Hei Hung turned, donned a fur hood, and stepped into the rain.
Drip drop.
Rain fell on him, he looked calmly around the bushes, then strode in one direction.
Rustle.
Branches brushed against him as he entered the forest, choosing a path. Because of rain, vision was poor, so he marked trees with his knife to avoid losing way.
Chapter 706, Where the hell are you?
Rain poured down, the mountain path turned muddy, and every step was uncomfortable. Hei Xiong swung his blade, cutting vines and branches, eyes scanning the area. He kept silent, glancing back, but the cave was no longer in sight. He sighed, face darkening, and moved on, hunger gnawing at him. Along the way he grabbed some wild greens, rinsed them with rainwater, then stuffed them into his mouth.
Clack.
The wild greens were bitter, sour, and filthy.
Crack. His teeth struck a stone, and he spat it out.
he walked on. The sky was gray, time unclear, but night was near.
180. Drip drop. The rain weakened, drops falling from leaves. Time crawled until a strange sound came from ahead. Rustle.
He Xiong halted, gripped his knife, and turned back. Swish. A bush burst open, and a hedgehog appeared. Seeing him, it froze, spines raised. He Xiong frowned, then smirked, stepping toward it with his combat knife.
Puff puff.
The hedgehog quivered, strange sounds spilling from its mouth, trying to scare him off. But to a former Special Forces soldier, it was nothing. Whoosh. The hedgehog fired spines at him and retreated.
Rustle.
He Xiong swept most spines aside with a branch, only a few stuck and scratched him. He pulled them out, lunged, struck the hedgehog with the branch, and stabbed its neck with his knife.
Arg! The hedgehog screamed, spines bursting again, many piercing deep.
He Xiong grimaced but drove the blade deeper, twisting hard.
Puff puff.
The hedgehog thrashed, short legs useless.
Huff huff.
Panting, He Xiong pulled out the knife and stood, hunger making him weak. He yanked out the spines, blood dripping from several small wounds. He wiped it away, picked up the dead hedgehog, and turned back. After half an hour, darkness fell, the forest black with no moon or stars, only the sound of rain. 10 minutes later, firelight flickered ahead, and Chen Jishi called out.
He Xiong, where the hell are you?
He Xiong smirked, slowed, and walked toward the fire.
Chen Jishi stiffened, raising his torch, fear on his face. Ha!
Hearing He Xiong, he exhaled, then snapped, "It is dark, I thought you died out there, then no one would protect me." He Xiong nodded, raised the hedgehog, and said coldly, "Found meat, let us return." Chen Jishi's eyes lit up, then dimmed as he saw wounds on He Xiong.
You are hurt?
Just small wounds, nothing. He Xiong brushed the blood away and walked toward the cave. Chen Jishi followed quickly.
Step step.
The rain had stopped, water gathered in small streams. Soon they reached the cave. He Xiong tossed the hedgehog aside, sat near the fire, threw wood into it, flames rising high, then drew his knife to prepare the hedgehog. Chen Jishi eyed the bleeding wounds and said firmly, "Treat them first."
Mm.
He Xiong set down the knife, grabbed ash, pressed it on the wounds, and soon the bleeding stopped. Ash was light, alkaline, sterile, good for clotting, though it dirted the wounds.
Chen Jishi winced. Will this not cause infection? Do you have bandages or disinfectant? He Xiong asked calmly. Chen Jishi went silent, then muttered, "No."
He Xiong lowered his head, gutted the hedgehog, skinned it, cut off spines and organs. He looked up and said, "Make a fire at the cave entrance."
Why? Chen Jishi asked. Blood will draw beasts.
He Xiong explained, "With fire at the entrance, they will not come."
Clack.
His stomach growled, and he swallowed saliva. He cut 2 pieces of meat, skewered them on a stick, and roasted them over the fire. He Xiong stayed silent, focused on his task.
His duty was to protect Chen Jishi.
But he knew, without protein and nutrition, in their state they would never last until the contest ended.
Chapter 707, The Trash Picked Up. Creak.
Nantan Nok gently pushed the window open, propped it with a wooden stick, and the fresh morning breeze rushed in. So refreshing. She whispered, stretched her body, then turned to take her washing kit and went downstairs. After a while, having washed, she entered the storage, grabbed some hay, and threw it into the rabbit cage.
So plump.
She sighed as she saw the rabbit chewing, then untied the rope of the young deer, letting it roam free in the yard. She scattered some hay in the yard, sat on the steps, and watched the deer eat.
Creak creak.
Obviously flew from the forest, circled twice in the sky, and landed on the roof, tilting its head at her.
Do you want to eat?
Nantan Nok shrank her neck, the bird still looked intimidating. She hurried upstairs, opened the room door, stepped to the wooden shelf, hesitated, and reached for salted meat.
Good morning, Sister Ton Knock. N.K.
Van Han's
Books.
voice came from behind.
Ah, good morning.
She was startled and turned back. Van Han stuck out her tongue, embarrassed.
Sorry, did I scare you? It is fine, I was just finding meat for obviously, not sure which one.
She exhaled softly. Van Han pulled out bear meat from the shelf, handed it over, and said gently,
Give it the bear meat, we do not like it, let obviously eat it. I see.
She weighed the meat, heavy indeed.
Creak creak.
Obviously flapped, slid from the roof, grabbed the bear meat, and ate wildly.
Creak creak.
It looked up, then slowly chewed.
She froze, could it understand her words? He, do not be shocked, obviously is clever.
Van Han came down with washing kit, passed by smiling. It can even guard the house.
So amazing. She said sincerely.
Later, after washing, the girl prepared breakfast. Nanton Nok helped. Lu Waimong yawned, rubbed her eyes, and greeted.
Good morning. Good morning. Van Han replied.
Half an hour later, everyone woke, washed, and sat around the wooden table for breakfast.
So Fong, what will we do today? Van Han asked softly. Ah, to the beach? Nan Nu Nok's eyes sparkled, forgetting to chew. Are you excited? So Fong smiled. Yes. She nodded fast, dimples on her face. Will we stay overnight? Van Han asked gently. Yes, stay overnight and watch the sunrise. So Fong nodded. The sunrise. Her eyes shone again. Ha ha ha. So Fong laughed openly. Her face flushed shyly. Eat more, you are too thin.
Van Han put food in her bowl, pitying her thin face.
Yes. She answered obediently.
Nanton Nok pressed her lips, more fond of them.
Breakfast must be full, the beach is half a day away.
Van Han gave food to her too, the sisters rarely picked themselves.
Thank you. She quickly thanked. Just grab what you want, being thick-skinned is fine.
Lu Waimong teased.
Thick-skinned eat well.
Lu Wai Thursday glanced, agreed, in society thick skin survive better. Later, after eating, the sisters washed dishes, the girl and Lu Waimong packed.
Bring sleeping bags, the sea is cold at night. Van Han reminded. Yes.
Lu Waimong tied them with rope. Bring bamboo tubes, we need to cook more salt. She kept muttering while packing.
So Fong smiled bitterly, she always brought many things. Obviously, stay in guard today, I will reward you fish later. He patted its head, sending thoughts. Creak creak. Obviously tilted, flapped, calling. Of course, lying means being a puppy. He chuckled. Creak creak. Obviously nodded, flew to the roof, guarding. Just a trick to keep it home. Lu Waimong murmured. Really? Nanton Nok's eyes widened, trick a bald eagle? So Fong's mouth twitched, annoyed. Then you stay? Not me. She laughed and hid behind her sister. I think she stays better. Lu Wai Thursday nodded. Maybe you were picked from the trash. She said calmly. Lu Waimong huffed. Humph, then you two, we are twins. Lu Wai Thursday's mouth twitched, unwilling to argue.
The girls and sisters giggled, a joyful day again.
Let us go.
So Fong smiled, held the girl's hand, and led the way.
Do not underestimate obviously, it is still a fierce bird. He said, its cry was not mighty, but its claws and beak were deadly. Chapter 708, Marrying the Same Person? Is coconut crab delicious? Nan Nu Nok could not resist swallowing her saliva. Delicious, tonight we can surely eat it. Lu Waimong said innocently. Really?
Nan Nu Nok's eyes lit up like a curious child.
Yes, I will take you to catch it. Lu Waimong hugged Nan Nunok's shoulder and spoke with vigor. Then the dinner ingredients are up to you to find. So Fong said with a grin. Cough cough. So Fong coughed lightly and then spoke seriously. Waimong, I will go with you. It is nothing, it is not like I trip every time. Lu Waimong pouted helplessly. Not necessarily. Lu Wai Thursday said calmly. Lu Waimong gritted her teeth, snorted, then pounced on her sister, reaching out to tickle. Ha ha, stop it. Lu Wai Thursday dodged, unable to hold back her laughter. The two played by the stream, chasing each other with bright smiles. Be careful, do not fall into the water. So Fong gently reminded. Lu Wai Thursday quickly grabbed her sister's hands, panting. Stop messing around, you might really fall. You always say that. Lu Waimong gasped, her face flushed. Fine, fine. Lu Wai Thursday raised her hand, quickly tidying her messy hair. That is better. Lu Waimong snorted, then turned to hug Nan Nunok's shoulder, whispering again. Lu Wai Thursday could only smile wryly, the two sisters were so noisy. The group continued walking, chatting and laughing, 3 hours later arriving at the old campsite. This was our old camp, and also where we met So Fong. Unfortunately it was destroyed by the flood. Lu Waimong pointed to the vines and weeds covering it, full of regret. It is indeed a pity. Nan Ton Nok nodded, the traces showed it had once been a good place. Old goes, new comes. So Fong sighed. Now we even have a better wooden house. Yes. Van Han nodded in agreement. NK Books. Let us go, we still have about 1 hour to the coast. So Fong gently urged. All right. Everyone replied. Over an hour later, they could already feel the breath of the sea, the wind carried a salty taste. Boom boom. I hear the sound of waves. Nan Nunok's eyes lit up, full of expectation. Almost there. So Fong smiled, holding the girl's hand as they walked faster toward the shore. So beautiful. Nan Nunok opened her mouth wide, pulling her sister toward the beach, gazing at the deep blue. Are you happy? Nan Ton Nok tilted her head to look at her sister, seeing the excitement on her face. Yes, sister, the sea is so beautiful. Nan Nunok waved her sister's hand, shouting with joy. Yes, as blue as the sky. Nan Ton Nok nodded, for the first time so close to the sea. Come on. The two sisters replied, hurrying after So Fong. After 20 minutes, coconut trees and sandy beach appeared. You go first. Lu Waimong gestured. Okay. Nan Ton Nok pulled her sister's hand, carefully stepping over the rocks. Lu Waimong and her sister followed. 15 minutes later they reached the sand safely. Van Han reminded. There are many rocks here, be careful when leaving. All right. Nan Ton Nok answered, but her sister had already run to the beach, rolled up her pants, and splashed in the sea. She had to drop the bamboo basket and chase after her. Youth is wonderful, full of vitality. Lu Waimong said like an old man. Haha, you sound like you are very old. So Fong laughed, turning into the coconut grove to unload his pack. I will check the shore to see if there is anything good to pick up. Van Han left her basket and ran toward the sea. It is still early. Lu Waimong looked at the sky, then asked. Sister, want to swim? Let us. Lu Wai Thursday pursed her lips and agreed softly. Then change clothes. Lu Waimong took swimsuits from the basket, called to So Fong, then dragged her sister into the grove. So Fong quickly adjusted his bracelet, setting the drone on standby to avoid awkward accidents. Soon, the sisters returned in swimsuits, making So Fong dazed. Beautiful. So Fong nodded instinctively. Am I prettier, or is my sister? Lu Waimong asked. Again. Both are beautiful. So Fong regained composure, teasing. Both are beautiful. You must choose one. Lu Waimong pouted innocently. I will change clothes too. So Fong quickly turned and ran. Humph, lucky you ran fast. Lu Waimong snorted, smiling. Waimong, do you have feelings for So Fong? Lu Wai Thursday hesitated then asked.
Cough cough, no, who would like him, nonsense. Lu Waimong coughed, her face red, hurriedly denying. In her heart, Lu Waimong sighed, then said firmly.
Of course, So Fong will marry Van Han, how could I like him? That is obvious, everyone sees, childhood sweethearts, deep feelings.
Lu Waimong said with some discouragement.
Yes. Lu Wai Thursday nodded lightly. So, why would I like him, to be a mistress?
Lu Waimong denied with her mouth, but her heart said otherwise. Lu Wai Thursday sighed, pinched her sister's nose, and spoke gently.
This is up to you, your happiness matters most. What are you thinking, how could that be? Lu Wai Thursday glared at her sister. Chapter 709, Cannot Leave You Alone. Lu Wai Thursday raised her brows and asked doubtfully, What do you mean? Nothing, let us go swimming. Lu Waimong giggled brightly then ran toward the sea. Be careful. Lu Wai Thursday warned angrily and hurried to chase.
On the shore, the Nan sisters rolled up their pants and ran along the sand, sometimes picking up seaweed.
Nan Nu Nok suddenly stopped, pointed to a faint object stranded on the sand and curiously asked, Sister, what is that? It looks faint, probably a jellyfish.
Nan Ton Nok answered uncertainly.
Catch it and see. Nan Nu Nok squatted down to pick it up. Careful, do not mess around. Nan Ton Nok quickly pulled her back and warned, Many things look harmless but are dangerous. Fine then. Nan Nu Nok gave up. At this time Van Han came and asked curiously, What are you talking about? Van Han, do you know what this is? Is it a jellyfish? Nan Nu Nok pointed at it. Ah, this is a jellyfish. Van Han exclaimed, then nervously asked, You did not use your hands to catch it, right? Nan Nu Nok asked confused, I wanted to but gave up, is it poisonous? So scary.
Nan Nu Nok's face turned pale, she stepped back quickly, feeling lucky she did not touch it. Actually no need to be so scared, if handled properly jellyfish are delicious.
Van Han smiled like a flower. The Nan sisters were surprised and asked, Is it not poisonous? Can it be eaten? Of course, jellyfish salad, never tried?
Van Han laughed and took out a military knife, used the back to lift the jellyfish onto a rock, then cut off the venomous spines.
Never.
The Nan sisters shook their heads. Van Han washed the jellyfish clean in seawater, brushed away sand then cheerfully said, Tonight we will have an extra dish.
Really edible? Nan Nu Nok asked worriedly. Rest assured, I have tried. Van Han nodded firmly. That is good then. Nan Nu Nok sighed with relief. What are you doing here? Come swim, when dark it will be cold. Lu Waimong in swimsuit ran over and jumped into the sea. Lu Wai Thursday followed and also dove in. Coming right away. Van Han waved in reply.
She turned and told the sisters, Come, let us swim.
No problem, I will teach you, very easy. Van Han held their hands and said, Do you want to learn to swim?
Nan Ton Nok asked her sister.
Yes. Nan Nu Nok nodded, face filled with excitement.
Nan Ton Nok pressed her lips then told Van Han, Then trouble you to teach us.
Let me go down and see.
So Fong carried a sack at his waist, wearing only cloth shorts. Van Han pouted and reminded, Be safe, do not stay too long underwater. So Fong stroked her head and replied, I know, I will be careful.
Yes, go, be safe. Van Han reminded again. All right. So Fong waved his sleeve and walked straight to the sea.
He is going to dive to the seabed, ignore him, not the first time.
Van Han pretended indifferent and said, "Let us go change clothes." Dive to the seabed? He has no diving gear, how?
Nanton Nok was shocked. Van Han sighed lightly, of course he holds his breath then dives.
Hold his breath? Cannot even reach the bottom before out of air.
Nanton Nok frowned puzzled. So Fong is different, he can hold for 5 or 6 minutes, enough to reach bottom and return. Van Han gently explained. The Nan sisters were stunned. 5 or 6 minutes, that meant hundreds of breaths for normal people.
Nanton Nok looked to the beach, so Fong was talking with Lu's sisters, then pulled into Coconut Grove.
5 or 6 minutes later when they returned, So Fong was gone, obviously under the sea.
He already went down.
Lu Waimong said softly.
Yes, he has been under a while, should be back soon.
Lu Wai Thursday pursed her lips, slightly worried. Nanton Nok held Van Han's hand, mouth open but speechless.
Splash.
Next moment, a head popped out of the sea, it was So Fong.
Hoo-hoo.
All the girls breathed in relief together.
Really, always making people worry. Van Han pouted, stepped forward and patted
his chest.
So Fong pinched her soft cheek and gently said, "Do not worry, I will never leave you alone, if danger comes I will leave right away."
Sweet talker.
Van Han blushed and glared. So Fong, you really can hold 5 or 6 minutes? Nanton Nok asked amazed. More like 6.5, after that breathing is hard, forcing can reach 7 minutes.
So Fong said proudly.
So abnormal. Nanton Nok opened her mouth, finally uttering that. Cough cough, I will dive again, do not run around.
So Fong coughed, poured seafood from his sack then picked it up and went back to the sea.
Chapter 710, An Eyesore. Ho ho.
So Fong emerged from the sea, opening his mouth to breathe fresh air. He could hold his breath for 5 or 6 minutes, amazing.
Nan Nu Nok soaked in the seawater, mouth open, watching So Fong swim to shore.
So Fong kicked strongly, moved toward the girls, wiped seawater off his face, combed back his long hair. He smiled at Nan Nu Nok and said, "Close your mouth, or you will drink seawater, it is very salty."
Nan Nu Nok's face turned red, she closed her mouth, then asked, "Are you all right?" "I am fine, very good."
So Fong smiled lightly, waded to the beach, took off his sack, placed it on the sand.
Going back down again? Van Han also came ashore. So Fong squatted on the beach, gently said, "Do not worry, not going again." "Good, what did you find this time?"
Van Han sighed in relief, squatted, opened the sack, poured out the seafood. "Not bad luck, found some sea cucumbers and sea urchins."
So Fong answered.
From the sack spilled seafood, sea cucumbers as thick as 3 fingers, 4 or 5 sea urchins, and many shells.
Later we will catch 2 coconut crabs, tonight we can have a big seafood feast.
Van Han laughed, packed the seafood back into the sack.
Go.
So Fong nodded with a smile.
He waved and said, "Let us go, be safe, do not go too far." Van Han, I think I can swim now. Nanton Nok said happily. Really? Swim to show me.
Van Han said in surprise, she had taught less than half an hour.
Splash splash.
After a while, she changed direction, swam back, stopped before Van Han, and shyly said, "Swimming is not very good, but at least I can move."
Already great, you learned faster than I did.
Van Han raised a thumb in praise. Nanton Nok smiled gently, "Not really."
Nanton Nok quickly asked, and you?"
"Not yet, still difficult."
Nan Nu Nok pouted angrily. "Do not hurry, this needs patience."
Lu Waimong calmly said, "Haste makes waste, we go slowly."
"All right."
Nan Nu Nok pressed her lips, kept practicing freestyle in shallow water. "I think let Nu Nok learn dog paddle first, easier." Lu Wai Thursday raised her hand to block splashes.
"I do not want what you feel, I want what I feel."
"Listen to me, dog paddle looks indecent." Lu Waimong said seriously.
Lu Wai Thursday's mouth twitched, doubting her sister needed discipline. Wai Mong, are you going to catch coconut crabs?
So Fong's voice came from shore.
Yes, wait for me.
Lu Wai Mong was excited, turned to her sister. Sister, teach Nu Nok, I will go catch crabs. Then she waded to shore, followed So Fong into the coconut grove.
Is that not irresponsible?
Lu Wai Thursday muttered. Splash splash.
Nan Nu Nok stopped, looked at Lu Wai Mong leaving, sadly said, Am I too stupid?
No, it is just freestyle is harder. Lu Wai Thursday comforted, I will teach you dog paddle and breaststroke, much easier.
Okay. Nan Nu Nok nodded earnestly.
Dog paddle, better learn breaststroke. Lu Wai Thursday thought, her sister was right, dog paddle was strange.
Nan Nu Nok smiled softly, I listened to Thursday sister. NK books. Nan Nu Nok muttered while practicing, seems simple.
Lu Wai Thursday wiped water, gently said, try it.
Okay. Nan Nu Nok took a breath, imitated movements, practiced breaststroke in shallow water.
Over 10 minutes later, she stopped, holding her chest, breathing hard.
Go ashore to rest, or you will cramp, too dangerous.
Lu Wai Thursday said softly.
All right, I cannot swim anymore, legs heavy. Nan Nu Nok worried.
Lu Wai Thursday patted her head, gently, enough for today, back at camp we continue in the pond.
Yes. Nan Nu Nok nodded, followed Thursday ashore.
The girls had lit a fire, preparing dinner.
Clack clack.
Van Han changed clothes, squatted in a clearing before Coconut Grove, 3 fires with iron pots. This time they brought all their pots, to maximize salt boiling.
3 pots, 1 boiled fresh water for dinner, 2 boiled seawater into salt, bubbling.
Lu Wai Thursday sat by the fire, warming, asked, So Fong and others not back yet?
Maybe longer, coconut crabs are hard to find.
Van Han replied, cleaning seafood, adding forest ginger.
She covered the pot, said gently, You two go change clothes, it is getting cold, careful not to catch a cold. Okay. Lu Wai Thursday stood, took clothes, led Nan Nu Nok into the grove. Chapter 7:11, Will burst the belly. So Fong, there is one on the tree, it is yours. Lu Yiming's sharp eyes quickly spotted the first coconut crab. All right.
So Fong put down the bamboo basket, skillfully tied the rope to his leg, leaned on the trunk and began to climb.
The coconut crab noticed the uninvited guest, slowly moving higher. Do not resist pointlessly.
So Fong grinned, climbed faster, and in just over a minute reached the top, easily catching it. He tied it tight with the rope, hung it at his waist, then broke the palm top with a strong twist.
Yimeng, step aside.
So Fong called down.
Got it. Lu Yimeng quickly retreated. Bang bang bang. The palm fell on the sand, bounced twice, then rolled away.
He picked 4 or 5 more coconuts before slowly coming down.
He untied the rope, tossed the crab into the basket, dusted his hands, and carried it again. Come, let's check another place, we will take these coconuts later. All right.
Lu Yimeng piled the fallen coconuts, drawing a big mark on the sand. Do not worry, no one else will come, coconuts will not be lost.
So Fong laughed. He chuckled softly and walked deeper into the grove. I wonder if we will eat all the coconut crabs here. Lu Yimeng murmured. So Fong smiled, if we eat every day, maybe. But I think eating daily is like seeking death.
Lu Yimeng pursed her lips, anything eaten too much harms the body, except rice. Rice too, if eaten too much, will burst the belly.
So Fong teased.
Lu Yimeng pouted, who eats rice until bursting, only fools. They chatted while walking, and after more than 10 minutes found a second coconut crab, in a burrow under the palm. Digging it out, they caught it, bigger than the first.
This one is much better. Lu Yimeng happily tied it and threw it into the basket. Before dark, let's see if we can catch 2 more. So Fong continued.
They searched until dusk dimmed the sky, then returned to the shore.
5 coconut crabs, tonight we cannot finish. Lu Yiming murmured. Of course not, tomorrow morning we can eat the rest.
So Fong replied, thinking of diving for seafood tonight. Maybe only 3 crabs were enough for 6 people to be full.
Then tomorrow we will see your fishing skill. So Fong said.
Lu Yiming smiled confidently, of course, fresh fish is mine.
We will see. So Fong laughed.
As darkness fell, they returned to the beach camp with coconuts. You are back, I was just about to bring torches.
Yun Han turned, surprised, holding a torch. How many coconut crabs did you catch? She asked. 5, enough for 2 meals. So Fong said.
Yun Han lifted the largest crab, admired, this one is bigger than before, must be delicious.
It looks plain, but tastes great.
Yun Han's gentle voice said. She washed it simply, tied it, and dropped it into the big pot.
Looks tasty. Nan Ruyu rubbed her hands, swallowing saliva.
Wait, it must be boiled more than 20 minutes to kill parasites.
Yun Han warned.
While waiting, she made sauce with Utrima Tenyu, adding fresh condiments. First drink seafood soup, still need to wait.
Louis Zhu said, lifting the lid, ladling soup. It already looks delicious. Nan Ruyu quickly took the bowl, blew gently, sipped hot soup, and felt warm.
See cucumber, abalone, clams, and snails, so rich.
Nan Qingyu exclaimed.
She remembered the hard days on the mountain, now felt luxurious, and a bit sour in heart.
Eat more, you must gain weight to recover, you are still too thin. Yun Han said sincerely.
Nan Qingyu smiled bitterly, if I eat like this, in less than half a month I will be fat. Since joining So Fong, every meal had meat, eaten until full, and very tasty, hard to control.
Fat is good, only then body is strong. Lu Yiming spoke with mouth full of seaweed.
Do not worry, eat much but exercise, health will improve naturally.
So Fong said softly. The Nan sisters replied, all right. Come, taste jellyfish, you have not tried before, see if you like it.
Yun Han pushed the plate forward.
All right. Nan Qingyu nodded, picked a piece, smelled it, no strange odor, then ate. Crunch crunch.
The jellyfish was crisp, mixed with Utrima Tenyu, mint leaves, and spices, no fishy smell.
Chapter 7:12, A gentleman speaks but does not fight. How does it taste, have you gotten used to it? Van Han asked with concern.
It is really delicious, only at first it felt a bit strange. Nan Tan Nak stuffed the jellyfish into her mouth, blushing at her own eating manner.
Crunch crunch. Nan Nunak picked up a piece of jellyfish. After 2 bites her little face frowned. She asked innocently, Sister, why do I feel it is hard to swallow? You ate too little, take a big bite. Nan Tan Nak advised softly. No, I cannot, even a small one is hard, let alone a big one.
Nan Nunak quickly waved her hand, forcing herself to swallow the jellyfish.
Then you are missing a delicacy.
So Fong said regretfully, and put a jellyfish in his mouth.
It is clearly tasty, I did not expect Nunak would not like it.
Lu Wai Mong spoke with her mouth full. Lu Wai Thursday glanced at her sister and said quietly, everyone has their own taste, you do not like bitter melon either.
So tasty.
The group said almost in unison, startling her.
Lu Wai Mong froze, then pouted, I still dislike bitterness. As long as you are happy.
So Fong smiled bitterly, then said, anyway, on Huin Noyet Island there is no bitter melon, even if you want it you cannot eat it.
He, with your ability, you could create it.
Lu Wai Mong teased with a giggle. So Fong said helplessly, do you really see me as a god, I cannot make things from nothing?
Oh come on, do not be modest, you can, I believe you are the best.
Lu Wai Mong shook her hand, smiling slyly. So Fong twitched his eyes, then said gloomily, Wai Mong, you are really asking for trouble.
Hit me then, I will not stop you.
Lu Wai Thursday said calmly, seeing her sister's cheeky look made her want to tap her head.
A gentleman fights not speaks.
Lu Waimong shrank her neck, then quickly corrected, no, a gentleman speaks not fights, please restrain. So Fong laughed, his patience with her reached a new record.
The Nan sisters covered their mouths, shoulders trembling, trying not to laugh too loud. Lu Waimong narrowed her eyes and asked unhappily, "Are you laughing at me?" Cough cough, no.
Nan Ton Nok coughed to deny. Nan Nu Nok bit her lip and shook her head, afraid she would laugh out loud.
All right, stop fooling, the coconut crab should be ready. Van Han quickly changed the subject.
She lifted the iron pot lid with a stick, then took out the crab and placed it on a clean stone.
It all turned red, looks delicious. Nan Nu Nok put down her bowl, swallowing saliva. Good. The Nan sisters imitated the girl, broke a crab leg, pulled the meat out and took a bite, the juice flowing.
Nan Ton Nok's eyes lit up, she exclaimed, so good, so fresh.
Mum. Nan Nu Nok nodded, mouth smeared with broth.
Hee, I told you it would not disappoint, coconut crab roe was richer, just a bit oily.
Lu Waimong laughed.
Try this dip, the taste will change. So Fong cut the crab body, revealing golden roe, full and oily.
At this season there is still roe? Lu Wai Thursday asked in surprise. On Huin Noyet Island, the season does not matter. So Fong answered softly. Lu Wai Thursday nodded, that is true. Clack clack. Nan Nu Nok swallowed, dipping crab meat in roe. Ah, is this a new way to eat? Lu Waimong's eyes sparkled, she copied, dipping crab in roe. Nan Nu Nok said innocently, it tastes quite good. Yes, richer flavor. Lu Waimong raised her thumb. Boom boom.
By the ear was the sound of waves crashing the shore. Under the coconut trees the group ate seafood and chatted, laughter spreading.
In the observation room, the supervisors looked envious. So unfair, I want coconut crab too. No Tan Noyet pouted to Tay Vai Din. Later I will cook at my house. Tay Vai Din replied calmly.
No Tan Noyet's eyes lit up, she hugged Tay Vai Din's neck and giggled, Sister Vai Din is the best.
Her eyes glinted with mischief, she asked, hee, teacher, do you also want coconut crab? It is fine.
Ha Min smiled bitterly.
Then come eat at Sister Vai Din's house. No Tan Noyet suggested playfully.
If he dared to step into Tay Vai Din's house, tomorrow this iron bowl would be gone, maybe he would sleep on the street.
I also have business.
The corner of Vong Lam's mouth twitched. He did not want to die, that place was not a home but a tiger den.
Everyone has business, fine then. No Tan Noyet shrugged. Tay Vai Din glanced at her, lips faintly curved. Good.
Tay Vai Din nodded, took out her phone, tapped a few times, giving some order.
All right, I still have bread at home, I will ask the maid to bring it, tonight we can eat together. No Tan Noyet said while making a call.
Ha Min's mouth twitched, this was still on live broadcast.
Chapter 713, excuse me?
Van Han and the Nan sisters sat around the campfire, heads bent over a game of Chinese chess. This time the girl had even brought the set with her, using smooth sand as the board and a twig to draw the grid.
How should I move next?
Nan Nu Nok frowned, this was her first time playing and she was not familiar with the rules.
Move the chariot 3 steps forward. So Fong reminded her. All right. Nan Nu Nok nodded, searched among the pieces, then finally moved the chariot 3 squares. My turn.
Van Han spoke softly, brows furrowed in thought, though she seemed to be playing with Nan Nu Nok, in truth her opponent was So Fong.
Try here, it looks safer. Lu Waimong could not resist giving advice.
Van Han tilted her head then shook it, no, if I go there, the opponent will not let it pass.
Lu Wai Thursday also pointed out, what about this spot? That does not work either, the cannon is aiming at me. Van Han sighed.
Nan Ton Nok was amazed, how could 3 people look as if facing a great enemy over one move, was So Fong really that strong? Just wait till the flowers fall. So Fong shook his head with a bitter smile.
No rush, I must
NK
beat you in
books.
this round.
Lu Waimong waved her sleeve without raising her head.
Humph.
The three girls snorted together, continuing to study the board.
Nan Nunok curiously asked, So Fong, are you really that good? Ahem, just lucky, not really strong. So Fong coughed and replied honestly. Really? Nan Nunok pouted.
I think carefully, I will move here.
Van Han whispered, advancing her chariot 2 steps toward the enemy horse. Besiege Wei to rescue Zhao? So Fong frowned. Hee, how about that?
Lu Waimong laughed proudly.
Ah, good. Nan Nunok quickly found the cannon, followed So Fong's guidance and placed it in position.
The three girls were stunned, then sank into thought. They had not expected the tactic to be countered so easily. Nan Ton Nok grew sleepy. Waiting 5 or 6 minutes for one move was a test of patience. After more than half an hour, the three girls looked discouraged. Only Nan Nunok laughed happily as she had won.
I will not accept defeat, one more game. Lu Waimong declared.
So Fong nodded with a gentle smile. All right, but after this we should sleep. Tomorrow we rise early to watch the sunrise and go to the bay to gather seafood.
Sister, you play this time, I cannot understand anymore. Nan Nunok yielded. Ah, fine.
Nan Ton Nok nodded, still confused.
Van Han softly said, Shall we continue? If not, let us sleep first. Nan Ton Nok replied, It is fine, I want to try a game. So Fong sipped coconut water, then asked warmly, Do you know the rules? A little. Nan Ton Nok nodded, then set the pieces back according to memory. Come, rock paper scissors, loser goes first.
Lu Waimong suggested.
All right.
Nan Ton Nok agreed.
1, 2, 3.
Both called together, showing their hands, and Nan Ton Nok won.
Lost again.
Lu Waimong sighed, thinking hard about her first move. Another half hour passed. Unsurprisingly, Nan Ton Nok won again.
No more, I will sleep. Lu Waimong pouted, she had not won once all night.
Nan Ton Nok felt embarrassed, as almost all the moves had been calculated by So Fong. She only moved the pieces. Your mouth is pouting so much, it looks like tears are coming.
So Fong teased. Van Han asked curiously, Is that true? I do not know.
So Fong shrugged with a smile, then walked away. Lu Waimong clenched her fists in frustration.
Van Han covered her mouth, laughing, then gently asked as she saw So Fong head into the coconut grove, So Fong, where are you going? Excuse me. So Fong answered without turning back. Such an elegant way to say it.
Van Han blushed and whispered.
Nan Nunok blinked curiously, Excuse me? What does that mean? It means to relieve oneself. Van Han explained softly. A few minutes later, So Fong emerged from the grove looking refreshed. Van Han, do you want to go? I do not need to. Go to sleep quickly. Van Han pulled a face, tossed the torch into the fire, and slipped into her sleeping bag. So Fong chuckled tenderly, removed his shoes and climbed in. The girl naturally clung to him like an octopus. Aha!
So Fong's brow twitched, his biological clock woke him. He sat up, slipped quietly out, and gazed at the horizon.
The sun is coming up.
So Fong stretched, his bones cracking softly. He stood, breathing the sea breeze, then returned, gently shaking the girl.
Mum.
Van Han pouted, opened her eyes, then closed them again, hugging his arm.
So Fong laughed, pinched her cheek, and said softly, The sun is rising, do you not want to see the dawn? Chapter 7:14, Time to give up the competition. So beautiful.
Nan Nunok stood on the sandy shore, looking at the distant sea, her beautiful face shining with excitement.
Yes, it is really beautiful.
Nan Ton Nok nodded in agreement, her eyes sparkling.
Ah.
Lu Waimong yawned, squatted on the sand rubbing her eyes, then cupped her face with both hands, resting her elbows on her knees, staring blankly at the sea.
Still not awake? So Fong asked gently.
Lu Waimong tilted her head, grumbled with grievance, I want to sleep more. Tonight you can sleep enough, now wash your face, after breakfast we will go to the sea to catch seafood. So Fong laughed, patting her head, her short messy hair becoming even messier.
So Fong, help me split 2 coconuts, I need them for soup.
Van Han's voice came from behind.
Okay.
So Fong glanced at the rising sun on the horizon, then turned to the girl.
He skillfully chopped the coconuts, poured the juice into the iron pot. Using coconut water to cook coconut crabs, the flavor should be great.
Van Han smiled, placed the cleaned crabs into the pot, and lit a blazing fire.
Looking forward to it. So Fong smiled. Hee, very soon we can eat.
Van Han added another pot on the fire, poured in fresh water, preparing to cook seafood soup. Van Han nodded gently, softly said, very soon, you all store the items first, after breakfast we depart.
About 20 minutes later, the lid was lifted, coconut aroma spread. Try the taste.
Van Han pulled a crab out, placed it on a clean stone. She bit a piece, her eyes shone, her voice vague, delicious, rich with coconut flavor.
More refreshing.
Nan Nu Nok licked her finger stained with broth.
So Fong raised his thumb. Then eat more. Van Han smiled like a flower.
After more than 20 minutes, everyone finished breakfast, packed up, carried bamboo baskets, and headed to the shore.
Nan Nu Nok was pulled up by her sister, then curiously asked, Van Han, is the bay on the other side? Yes, about half an hour. Van Han replied. That is fine.
NK Books.
Nan Nu Nok sighed in relief. Okay. The Nan sisters and the Lu sisters responded, following behind So Fong.
After nearly half an hour, the bay appeared, water rising. Nanton Nok stood at the shore, looking down, sighed, this is the bay, it looks not so big.
Though not big, there are many treasures. Van Han answered gently. I know.
Nanton Nok held her sister's hand, carefully followed, the path harder than the coconut forest. After more than 10 minutes, they reached the rocky shore safely, looking at pools of water of various sizes.
I will dig Buddha hand snails.
Lu Wai Thursday took out a short knife, stopped at a rock crack, skillfully dug out snails. Then I will catch mantis shrimps and flower crabs in the puddles. Van Han rolled up her sleeves, as usual found many mantis shrimps, also flower crabs and green crabs. Nan Nu Nok rolled up her sleeves, lifted trousers, gently said, Van Han, I will help you. Nanton Nok took out a knife, dug snails, and picked shells.
So Fong walked to the large pool, hoping to catch fish.
The 2 men had left their camp for 2 days, searching for So Fong's group, staying outside overnight. If today we still cannot find them, I think we should give up, do not waste time. True Loi held his growling stomach, complained.
Yes, as you say.
True Loi sighed, after many days searching without a trace, confidence was shattered.
He frowned, asked, where do you think they hide, why cannot we find them?
True Loi's mouth twitched, angrily said, if I knew, I would not be starving here.
That is true.
True Loi pouted, no longer caring about his brother's tone, he only wanted to find the camp to eat meat.
Growl growl. His stomach growled loudly, hunger made chest stick to back. True Loi moved his chopsticks, looked at the pot of boiled wild vegetables, annoyed, so boring.
Your words are always unpleasant. True Loi pouted, but still ate vegetables, filling his belly for strength.
After 20 minutes, the 2 brothers finished breakfast, set out. Which direction? True Loi asked. This way, we have not been there. True Loi pointed casually.
True Loi twitched his eyes, such unreliable things only his brother could do.
He sighed, but with no clue, any direction was the same.
They kept moving, clearing bushes and vines. After nearly 2 hours the view opened, with rumbling water sounds.
There is water sound.
True Loi exclaimed, quickly pushing out of the forest.
Chapter 7:15, Clearly Defending the House.
In front of the two men was a crystal clear stream with water flowing. Great, there is water, that means So Fong's camp must be nearby.
True Loy said excitedly, scanning the surroundings as he walked. Possible, let's check.
True Loy felt they were close to the target. The two followed the stream upstream. After more than half an hour, a thorn wall 2 meters high blocked their way. The brothers were stunned, mouths agape without words.
Is this So Fong's camp? True Loy asked uncertainly.
Impossible, with just them, how could they build such a huge hideout?
True Loy shook his head in disbelief. Could it be natives on the island? But the organizers never said there were natives here.
True Loy frowned, wary of the thorn barrier.
Whatever, inside must be neat. True Loy swallowed saliva, circling along the thorn wall. Do not act rashly, we do not know if there are people inside. True Loy quickly pulled his brother.
If they were cannibals, they might become the next meal.
You think I am as stupid as you? Of course we must check first. True Loy said angrily, shaking off his brother's hand, searching for the gate. You call me stupid?
True Loy widened his eyes, swallowed his anger, silently followed to prevent his brother's recklessness.
Found it. True Loy whispered. A heavy gate of thorns stood ahead. Not sure if anyone is inside. True Loy muttered. Enter and we will know. True Loy took a deep breath, pushed the gate. Creak.
The wooden gate slowly opened.
So heavy.
He panted, cursing the builders in his mind.
Seems empty.
True Loy stepped in, eyes scanning, hearing nothing.
True Loy opened his mouth in awe at the raised wooden house. Such a huge wooden house, could this really be natives' residence?
Most likely, no contestant would waste time building this. True Loy frowned, nodding.
In the live stream, viewers commented. Wrong, someone really did build it.
Unexpected, So Fong, your wealth is being stolen while you fish leisurely. So Fong will go mad when he sees the rabbits and meat.
Cough, whether they can steal or not is another matter. Did you forget something?
True Loy touched his stomach, said heavily, first find something to eat, I am hungry.
True Loy snapped angrily, talk less, act fast. No meat, but many rabbits.
True Loy noticed a rabbit cage with more than 10 rabbits. Forget it, go upstairs, treasures must be there.
True Loy pouted, climbed upstairs. True Loy reminded, be careful, maybe someone is hiding. Creak creak. What sound?
True Loy paused, looked at the sky, heard strange noise.
He squinted, pointed, what is that? A bird? What is it doing? True Loy frowned, a bad premonition rising. Creak creak.
The bird was furious, it left briefly but returned to find intruders, threatening its fish feast. It spread its claws, swooping at the brothers' faces.
Is this bird crazy?
True Loy panicked, slipped from the stairs, fell in the yard.
No, not fine, my leg.
True Loy cried in pain.
Creak creak.
The bird circled above, swooped again, claws aimed at True Loy's head.
Get lost. True Loy shouted, waving his bow to drive it away. Creak creak. The bird rose again, circling above. So strange, this bird is mad.
Books.
We did nothing to it, why attack us?
True Loy gritted teeth, his injured leg aching.
True Loy said darkly, maybe it sees us as prey.
Then it is truly crazy.
True Loy cursed, never had he met a bird treating humans as prey. I will shoot it down.
True Loy pulled an arrow, aimed at the bald sea eagle. The bird circled, making it hard to aim.
Whiz. The arrow reached its peak, still 7 or 8 meters short, then fell by gravity. Damn. True Loy stomped, just a bit more and I could hit it. True Loy's mouth twitched, clearly more than a bit. Creak creak.
The bird swooped again, claws open toward True Loy. With its sharp talons, his face could easily be torn, risking disfigurement.
Chapter 716, Failed to steal a chicken, lost a handful of rice. Zhao Lei frowned, staring at the circling bird and muttered, "Why do I feel like it is driving us away?" Driving us away? Zhao Lei repeated, then looked up in shock. Could it be guarding its territory?
No, maybe it is guarding this place. Zhao Lei staggered up, barely keeping balance.
Guarding this place?
Zhao Lei was confused. Zhao Lei hopped on one foot toward the rabbit cage. Let's catch some rabbits first, then leave.
You stay put, I'll catch them. Zhao Lei said angrily. Keh.
The bird shrieked, swooping straight at Zhao Lei. Damn bird, get lost. Zhao Lei clenched his teeth, raising his long bow to block.
Keh.
The bird seized the bow and snatched it away, flying up easily.
Return my bow, you damned bird.
Zhao Lei shouted, helplessly watching it fly off.
Is this not failing to steal a chicken and losing rice too?
Zhao Lei said furiously.
Zhao Lei glared, are you mocking me? Hurry and catch the rabbits, don't go back empty-handed. Zhao Lei urged.
Hoof. Zhao Lei snorted, heading again to the rabbit cage, upset by today's bad luck.
Keh.
The bird released the bow, letting it drop into the water tank near the wooden hut.
Again? Zhao Lei rolled to dodge. So it really is guarding here. Zhao Lei realized, as soon as they touched anything, the eagle attacked.
I don't believe this, I must catch the rabbit today.
Zhao Lei dusted off and strode forward. Keh.
The bird swooped again. Zhao Lei rolled aside, barely avoiding the strike.
Enough, we can't catch any today. Zhao Lei sighed. Do you have a better way? Zhao Lei asked back.
Zhao Lei was speechless. Without weapons, how could he fight a sea eagle?
Wait until it leaves, then return.
Zhao Lei said gravely, unwilling to linger in case the owner returned.
Fine, retreat first. Zhao Lei sighed, helping his brother away. Keh.
The bird circled above, then landed on the hut roof, preening its feathers.
Thud thud thud.
In the forest, Zhao Lei cursed, damn bird. Zhao Lei stayed silent. Today they lost everything, even his leg was injured.
Why don't you speak? Zhao Lei asked. Zhao Lei calmly replied, if I speak we argue, silence is better.
Hoof. Zhao Lei snorted, plotting revenge on the eagle. Meanwhile at the sea, Su Feng's group was fishing. The tide had risen, flooding half the reef. The Nan sisters rolled up trousers, holding rods at the edge to try their luck. Half an hour earlier, Su Feng had caught 4 big sargos, plus 2 flying fish and another sargo.
Why no fish bite? Nan Ruyu pouted, watching the float sway aimlessly.
Su Feng soothed, don't rush, be patient. He tapped her rod, firmly said, there will be fish, just need time.
All right. Nan Ruyu nodded, eyes on the float. Su Feng thought maybe deer meat could replace rewards if needed.
Su Feng, it moved, the float moved.
She shouted. Calm, don't pull yet. Su Feng whispered, watching closely. Okay.
She restrained her excitement. Nan Chengyu beside was nervous, they had waited long.
Suddenly the float sank.
Nan Ruyu gripped the rod but was yanked forward, falling into the sea, soaked.
Ruyu, are you all right?
Nan Chengyu panicked, dropping her rod to pull her sister.
I'm fine, just lost the rod.
She showed her palm with red marks, blushing shyly.
You scared me, luckily safe. Wen Han patted her chest in relief.
Ruyu blushed more, apologizing, sorry for worrying you.
Wen Han held her hand, no matter, you are safe. Louis Thursday frowned, what fish was that, so strong? Catch it again to know.
Su Feng grinned, pointing at the sea where the lost rod surfaced.
Chapter 717, Instant Kill. Swish.
The only answer was the sound of Su Feng diving into the water.
That was reckless.
Van Han pursed her lips, sighing with sorrow. Do not worry, with So Fong's endurance nothing bad will happen.
Lu Wai Thursday came over, gently resting her hand on the girl's shoulder.
Van Han forced a bitter smile, whispering, even so, my heart cannot be calmed.
We will wait with you. Nan Nu Nok held Van Han's hand and spoke softly. Mm.
Van Han felt much more at ease.
Clop clop.
Underwater, So Fong exhaled bubbles, the water was crystal clear. He kicked his legs while swimming toward the fishing rod, scanning around to find the fish. Soon the rod appeared in his sight. He reached out, grabbed it, raised his head above the surface, legs keeping balance, and began reeling in. In the next instant, the rod jerked fiercely, nearly dragging him under. This will not work, I must get to shore first. He frowned, unable to exert full strength in the sea. Yet the fish had no intention of letting him, pulling in the opposite direction.
NK Books. Come up obediently. He gritted his teeth, legs kicking faster, fighting hard not to be dragged away. He shouted toward the rocks, Van Han, throw me the rope.
She tied one end to a stone, handed it to Lu Wai Mong. Sister Mong, you are stronger, throw it over.
No problem.
Lu Wai Mong swung the rope and rock, then hurled it straight toward him.
Perfect.
He quickly caught it, one hand on the rod, the other tying the rope to the line with his teeth. Smiling, he dropped the rod and muttered, now we will see who tires first. He released the rod and swam toward the shore. On land, the girls pulled the rope, bracing themselves not to fall.
Boom. He strode back, winding the rope around his wrists. Not sure yet, but we will find out soon.
He grinned with confidence.
Time is short, the tide is rising.
Van Han said anxiously, the seawater was already at the shore, soon it would flood.
Then you go ahead, leave this to me. He tightened his grip and instructed. Be careful, do not force yourself. Van Han hesitated, knowing she could only hinder. Sister Thursday, Sister Nok, let us go first.
She turned toward the shore.
Nantan Nok held her sister's hand, asking nervously, is this really okay? Hee, relax, So Fong is amazing. Lu Wai Mong laughed, carrying the heaviest basket, he even killed a bear instantly, why worry?
It was not exactly instant, more like 2 punches.
She recalled. 2 punches. Lu Wai Thursday added, remembering clearly the scene from Lai Du Du's video, it was unforgettable.
Nantan Nok's lips twitched, 2 punches killing a bear was still shocking. So Fong is truly incredible.
Nan Nu Nok whispered, admiration on her face. Van Han climbed up first, gently urging, go on, otherwise he will be distracted. Yes.
They all nodded quickly. More than 10 minutes later, the 5 girls reached the shore, leaving So Fong wrestling with the fish. The water had reached his thighs and soon would rise to his waist.
No time to waste. He frowned, the fish was powerful, draining it would take hours, but the tide was rising too fast. He decided to go all out, ignoring whether the line might snap, if it did then bad luck. He twisted his wrist, pulling in sections of rope, pausing each time to avoid breaking it. Come up. He muttered, hands working steadily, rope gathering behind him.
Soon only the fishing line remained. The line was woven from 4 types of bark, very strong. He wrapped it around his wrist and pulled again, shortening it bit by bit.
Boom! A bluefin tuna.
His eyes lit up, never expecting to catch another, perhaps luck came from touching Nan Nu Nok's rod. He also noticed this one was even bigger than the last. He grinned, determined not to let it escape. On shore, the sisters gasped, frightened by the massive fish. They now understood why Nu Nok had fallen, facing such a giant fish, not being dragged away was lucky.
What kind of fish is that? Nan Nu Nok asked nervously, clutching her clothes. Not sure. But it looks familiar. Van Han frowned softly. Will So Fong really be okay down there alone?
Nantan Nok said with worry.
Chapter 718, Intruders.
She had followed So Fong hunting many times and had witnessed countless unimaginable things.
Is that true?
Nantan Nok pressed her lips, trying to calm her nervousness, her eyes fixed on the shore beneath So Fong.
Rumble.
The sea suddenly churned, foam splashed, and a huge California bluefin tuna appeared in shallow water, pulled up by So Fong's brute force, snapping the line. He finally breathed out, thinking, indeed, only raw strength could solve this. He hesitated, then struck another punch, denting the fish's head, preventing escape. Grabbing the tail, he waded toward the shore, water rising to his waist.
So Fong, hurry up! Van Han shouted from the beach.
Nearly 10 minutes later, he reached land, removed the giant fish from his back, the stench making him uncomfortable.
Compared to last time, this one is much bigger, nearly 100 catties? Lu Waimong swallowed hard, already imagining tonight's sashimi. Yes, not just 100, nearly 150.
So Fong said calmly, last time was only 40 catties and 80 centimeters, but this one exceeded 1 meter.
Over 100, selling would be valuable.
Van Han's eyes sparkled. It could sell for nearly 100,000. So Fong grinned, the larger the size, the higher the price.
Indeed, such a form is worth it. He nodded with a smile. Unbelievable. Nantan Nok gulped, curious about the taste. He, you have never tried sashimi?
Lu Waimong teased.
No, never. Nantan Nok's face flushed, there was no sashimi in the mountains.
Lu Waimong laughed, then you are lucky, sashimi of bluefin tuna tastes great.
I am truly looking forward.
Nantan Nok whispered.
Let's go back.
So Fong carried the fish forward. So Fong, such weather will spoil the meat quickly.
Lu Waimong warned. Yes, it affects the quality, so we must hurry. He answered without looking back, quickening his pace. Are you not tired?
Nantan Nok worried, amazed at him carrying so much weight.
Tan Nok, worry if we can keep up with him.
Lu Waimong said playfully.
That weight means nothing to him. Van Han added, the sisters still did not know his monstrous level. Really?
Nantan Nok gazed at him, even more astonished. They followed the path back. After over 1 hour they reached the small stream. So Fong stopped, placed the tuna in water to cool, otherwise it would spoil before reaching camp.
Rest here,
he said gently, washing his face with stream water, instantly refreshed.
Ah, I crave ice.
Lu Waimong sat, patting her knee.
NK books, stop, I crave too. Lu Wai Thursday licked her dry lips.
Van Han muttered, we just reached the stream, still 3 hours from camp.
Cough, soon. So Fong chuckled. Come, drink water. Van Han glared, then handed him a bamboo tube. Gulp gulp.
So Fong smiled, drinking large gulps, his throat soothed. They rested more than 10 minutes, then moved again, pausing often to keep the fish fresh. The sun slanted west, the light softened, the camp finally appeared. She dashed forward, the first to return.
Ah!
Lu Waimong stopped, frowned, and shouted, So Fong, did we not lock the gate?
I clearly locked it, how?
So Fong's face darkened, he had done it.
The barrier is open. Lu Waimong answered loudly. Could it be intruders? Van Han gasped, running quickly. The sisters exchanged looks, rushing behind. See, the gate wide open. Lu Waimong pointed. It seems someone entered. So Fong's face sank, footprints scattered before the door. Not good, where is the fawn? Lu Waimong cried, running to search the yard.
Do not search, it must be stolen.
So Fong sighed, outside he saw deer tracks heading into the forest. Who dared steal my fawn?
Lu Waimong shouted in rage, joy shattered.
Strange, why not take the rabbits? Lu Wai Thursday counted again and again, still all present. She puzzled, why steal deer but not rabbits, maybe they disliked rabbit meat. Chapter 719, good luck or misfortune. The Nan sisters exchanged a glance, then quickly followed. So Fong, the rabbit is still here, does that not seem strange? Lu Wai Thursday stood up and asked. Yes, it does seem strange.
So Fong nodded, tossing aside the tuna, then began circling the yard to observe.
Ah!
Behind the cabin, with his sharp eyes, he spotted a longbow at the bottom of the pool.
Feeling puzzled, he leapt down to retrieve it.
Perhaps the deer thief forgot it. He shook the bow dry, pulled the string, and found it intact.
Without a bow, how could one hunt? Unless as skilled as So Fong, abandoning it for a fawn was too great a loss. There is also an arrow.
He frowned, seeing one stuck upside down in the vegetable patch.
He walked over and pulled it out. How could an arrow fall here, and upside down at that?
Lu Wai Mong muttered in confusion.
So Fong, nothing seems missing inside the cabin.
Van Han descended with Mao Caw in her arms, after searching with the sisters.
Creak!
A cry sounded, and a shadow dropped from the forest onto the roof. The raven folded its wings and tilted its head at So Fong.
Come down. So Fong waved.
Wait, eat later, first tell me what happened. He used his will to communicate.
Creak!
The raven flapped its wings, explaining in broken meaning, yet So Fong grasped the gist. 2 men came, were driven off, and nothing was taken, as the bird claimed credit.
Nothing taken? Then what of the fawn? He asked with a frown. Creak!
The raven cried, meaning the unlatched gate allowed the fawn to escape.
So Fong, what is it? Van Han asked while stroking Mao Caw's chin.
He exhaled lightly, concealing the truth. It is fine, nothing was lost.
Not fine, the fawn is missing. Lu Wai Mong pouted, cursing the intruders inwardly. I will go search, you prepare ice and handle the tuna.
So Fong grabbed the horn bow and walked toward the fence, believing the fawn still in the woods.
So Fong, be careful. Van Han urged.
Without turning, he waved, I know, stay put. Van Han carried Mao Caw inside, fetched saltpeter and a basin, and began making ice.
Nan Ton Nok curiously asked, making ice? How does that work? Saltpeter absorbs heat when in water. Van Han explained simply. I will prepare the tuna.
Lu Wai Mong drew a military knife, cleaned it, split the fish, removed entrails, and sliced flesh.
Creak!
The raven guarded nearby, clearing scraps.
Here, a piece for you. Lu Wai Mong cut a palm-sized chunk and tossed it. Nan Nu Not poked at the red flesh, admiring, this fish looks delicious.
It must be handled before eating, in the wild caution is needed. Lu Wai Mong said firmly, the raw slices would need So Fong's knowledge of herbs.
Yes, or diarrhea will be miserable. Nan Nu Nok agreed. Diarrhea is small, So Fong's herbal soup can cure it fast.
Lu Wai Mong added with innocence, worse are parasites, hard to solve.
Understood. Nan Nu Nok shivered.
In the forest, So Fong tracked footprints, but weeds and vines covered them. He advanced carefully, imitating fawn cries.
Where did you go? He muttered.
The sun was sinking, less than half an hour remained. He kept calling, hoping the fawn would come. After more than 10 minutes, just as he hesitated to return, bushes rustled ahead.
That sound.
He stayed calm, drew an arrow, set it, suppressed his presence, and advanced. Peering past shrubs, he froze.
The fawn was entangled in vines, struggling only to be bound tighter. Is this my luck, or your misfortune?
He smirked, patting its head.
Chit chit. Be good in return, with food and drink, why flee? He tapped it into faintness. Cutting vines with his arrowhead, he twisted some into a rope and tied its neck. Come, time to return. He brushed his hands and led the fawn back. Chapter 720, The New World Gate.
So Fong carried the fawn back to the camp, then turned to reinforce the main gate, casually untying the vine from its neck to let it free.
Ah!
Lu Waimong ran over with a military knife, both surprised and worried,
NK
asking,
Books.
"So Fong,
Where did you find this fawn?"
in the forest, when I saw it, it was caught by vines, otherwise it would have cost more effort." So Fong briefly explained.
I thought it was stolen. Now that we found it, that is good.
Lu Waimong breathed a sigh of relief, her gloom swept away, her face once again shone with a bright smile. "Humph, even so, do not let me know who dared to intrude, or I will break his legs."
Lu Waimong snorted proudly, holding the knife and returning to the stream to continue handling the tuna. So Fong chuckled and shook his head, also curious who had intruded, but regrettably he could not get any valuable information.
He washed his hands by the stream, then went upstairs, stood before the wooden rack to find herbs, preparing to handle the raw fish slices. So Fong washed the herbs, then crushed them to extract juice. Van Han was busy in the kitchen, both stoves burning. Tonight's dinner was destined to be rich. "So Fong, Sister Mong told me to bring these raw fish slices to you."
Nan Nu Nok pushed open the door.
So Fong looked and smiled. "All right, put them on the wooden table, I will handle them later."
Okay. Nan Nu Nok replied crisply, placing the ceramic bowl of raw fish on the table. So Fong glanced and then asked, "What is it? Something wrong? Sister Mong said you know how to use herbs for healing, is that true?"
Nan Nu Nok bit her lip and asked softly. So Fong paused, turned, and asked with concern, "I know a little, why?
Are you unwell?"
His black eyes held doubt.
Van Han came over, puzzled. "So Fong, what is wrong with Nu Nok?" "I do not know."
So Fong shrugged, having some guesses but unsure.
"All right then." Van Han frowned and returned to the kitchen.
So Fong stood dazed for a while, recalling his knowledge, then calmed down and continued grinding the herbs.
The night outside deepened.
The girl brought Utrimatenia sauce to the table, along with seafood soup, steamed crabs, fried mantis shrimp and wild vegetable salad.
"Dinner is ready, are you done?"
Van Han wiped her hands clean, called from the window toward the stream.
"Coming."
Lu Waimong did not look up, breaking fish bones and washing them to dry for later soup. The scraps and innards were almost dealt with, she was satisfied cleaning feathers on the roof. She washed the blood, then with Nan Ton Nok carried the cut fish into the cabin, continued salting and seasoning, then smoked the fish for storage.
"You worked hard, sit down quickly." Van Han helped set the bowl of fish aside. "Not hard," Nan Ton Nok replied. "Wow."
Lu Waimong approached the table, eyes shining, exclaiming, "So plentiful."
"Do not stand idle." So Fong laughed, inviting all to sit. Gulp. Nan Ton Nok swallowed.
Lu Waimong sat first, picked up chopsticks and laughed, "Ha ha, I will not be polite, you all help yourselves." She grabbed a piece of tuna belly, dipped in Utrimatenia sauce, put it in her mouth, chewed twice, her face showing satisfaction. "Delicious, it melts in the mouth, truly wonderful, I need another."
Lu Waimong praised and reached for more.
Nu Nok, Ton Nok, you two try too, see if you can get used to raw fish.
Van Han urged gently. Okay.
Nan Ton Nok answered, picked a slice of raw fish, dipped lightly, brought to her mouth, hesitated, then ate it. She chewed twice, first her nose stung, making her tear up, then she tasted the tuna's flavor. "Do not dip too much sauce, it is not as pungent as mustard, but too much is still sharp."
Don Don reminded. All right. Nan Ton Nok's cheeks flushed, she nodded and swallowed the fish. How is it, getting used to it?
Van Han poured warm water beside her, in case she needed to rinse her mouth. Nan Ton Nok smacked her lips, eyes bright, a new taste, actually not bad.
Good, Nu Nok, why not try?
Van Han breathed a sigh of relief, looking over.
So tasty.
Nan Ton Nok patted her sister's head, smiling. My taste differs from sister's. Nan Nu Nok said innocently, then cautiously dipped a bit of sauce, put it in her mouth.
She frowned, lips shut, did not dare chew.
If you do not like it, do not force yourself, drink some water.
So Fong chuckled, indeed raw fish is not for everyone. Nantan Nok gently advised, do not force.
But the result was opposite. The younger sister relaxed her brow, her face showing wonder like opening a new world.
Nan Nu Nok swallowed the tuna, unable to resist praising, this is raw fish?
It is too delicious.